day. Nah, I been smoking, you been smoking, we been smoking all day. I be smoking, you been smoking, we been smoking all day. You be smoking, she be smoking, he be smoking all day. Blowing kush, it ain't face from overseas to the USA. I got that blueberry,
Check.
raspberry,
1, 2, check. Okay. I think we're ready. All right. 3, 2, 1, and action. What's up, everybody? It's Tony Tone coming back to you with another episode of Snerbidge The PoTcast. And happy 420. It's 420. It's our holiday. Yay. And I'm sorry my voice might be a little scratchy. I kind of got a little bit of a head cold going through the house. But I still sound lovely, I still sound lovely. So because it's 420, it's our 420 extravaganza. Because I really feel bad because usually every year I have a movie trivia game show that I do online called Silver Screen Showdown. And every year for the past couple years we've now done 3 all stoner films movie shows where stoners come in or just people that like stoner movies come in and do a game show about stoner movies, and it's hilarious. And check it out on YouTube. Silver Screen Showdown Stoner Films Edition. I think there's 3 of them now. I've had some really great people on those episodes. They're really fun. So yeah, a lot of fun. If you have the chance to check those out on YouTube, I highly recommend it. And today, I have a mixture of stuff. I have roaches and I have some regular Snerbidge and all this stuff. And so I'm not even gonna plug a particular thing. This is the Confluence Part IV. Because it's, I don't discriminate on this show. I'm not good at discrimination. So we're doing this. It's the Confluence Part IV. And this is some just regular flower Snerbidge right here. So let's get this going. Oh, yeah. And I'm sorry I haven't been around. It's been a long few months, man. A lot of death. Not like in my immediate family, but like my grandma's husband died and my son's real father died. And so that takes a toll on you a little bit. And I have 4 yobs. I got 4 yobs. But I took over hosting open mic night now. And I don't know if I talked about that on the last episode of Snerbidge The PoTcast. But yeah, I took over open mic, and it's been really fun. The vibe there has been a lot better since I took it over. And that's not me. Maybe it's me, but I just feel like I'm more welcoming to a lot of people in this town when it comes to art and stuff like that. Because, I've been doing this since 2016 now. And I remember my first night getting up there, and I was terrified. I'd done stand-up when I was a kid, but everybody loved it because I was a kid and I was cute and I was telling jokes. And so that wasn't really a thing. In 2016, I was still reeling from the death of my mother, and I needed something different. I needed to get out and do something. And so I went down to Slackers, this place, and I heard that they were doing comedy down there. So I was like, well, let's go check it out, and I had some jokes, and I went down there, and I remember I was like one of the first people through the door, one of the only people in there and stuff. And I went up to the host, and he had the sign-up sheet, and And I was like, I just said, am I too late to sign up? And he looked around and he was like, does it look like anybody else is going to be here? I was just like, damn, okay. Nice first impression, bud. I got up. I told some jokes. People laughed. It was fun. And then after the show, the same dude came up to me. He's like, oh, that was really good, man. I was like, dude, fuck you, man. I know exactly who you are now. Fuck that, dude. And that's the thing is like, I'm the last one standing, dude. From the original crew that was doing stand-up down there back in 2016, I'm the last one. People have moved away. People have stopped doing comedy and stuff. But I feel like I'm kind of the OG in the building now. And I take that very seriously in certain ways. Like, it's still fun, and I'm having fun with it and everything. But, like, some of these other hosts that have come and gone didn't take it very seriously. And it's like, I'm not a professional touring comedian. I have gotten paid for my jokes, so technically I am a professional comedian. But, I'm not going to Gotham and Acme and all that stuff. Like I'm strictly, I'm here and I do comedy here. And like these guys would come in and every week they'd tell the same jokes. And they're trying to do it the way the people that like, are in bigger areas and stuff like that do it. They think that they're working jokes out, but it's like, okay, we've heard that joke before. So we know what the punchline is, regardless of how you rephrase it and stuff like that. And so I've always been of mind to say, I need new material every time because I'm doing this to mostly the same people all the time. And I think that might have gotten on the other comedians' nerves because I always had new material, whether it landed or not. I landed probably 50% of my jokes every night, when I go in there and stuff, maybe 75% of them. And I've been doing this since 2016. I got like 5 hours worth of fucking audience laughter, man, like on film. And those guys didn't appreciate the fact that there are people here listening to you and that you are there to entertain them. They basically saw it as, oh, this stupid little open mic night and stuff like that. But I look at it completely different because making somebody laugh can change their day, can change their mood, change their mind, brings the tribes together. Speaking of things that bring the tribes together. And like there was a guy that would come down and do stand up and he was funny. Yes, he had to have 6 beers in him, to get up there and do it, but he was funny all the time. He was fucking hilarious. And then one of the hosts got up there on stage that one night and basically called him a drunk on stage. Guy never came back. There was a kid from college kid come down and he was dry. He had a really dry sense of humor, but he was hilarious. So they asked him to host one time and he'd never done it before. He was a college kid. He's probably 19, and he got up there and he wasn't great. But it's his first time hosting in a little town on an open mic night. Like, who cares, But one of those dudes got up there and just fucking laid into him about how much he sucked and everything. And the guy never came back. And it's like, God, dude, just, be welcoming. Not everybody's going to start off, with as much grace as, Jerry Seinfeld when it comes to the mic. Or as George Carlin or Cedric the Entertainer. Like not everybody is going to just get up there and immediately be exactly what you want them to be, And I've even noticed it these days, new guys come up doing jokes and they come in a few times and one of the old hosts would like pull them aside and be like, this is how you should be doing it. It's like, this is how you should be shutting the fuck up. because you know, let them figure it out. Nobody pulled me aside and told me anything. It is strictly, you know, what you end up being comfortable with and what you find in the evolution of your comedy as to how you interact with a crowd, what the crowd likes from you and everything. I feel like it's a very personal struggle. No one person can come up and give you the answers to being a comedian. Not going to happen, you know? So yeah, I'm very honored to be a part of it and to be the one running it. And I'm just happy that people show up, and I think that they feel a new vibe in the room with me. And so we have a lot of fun, and yeah, it's been really good. It's been really cool. God, I think I've done it like 3 months now. I might have mentioned it on one of the last podcasts, but I threw a couple roaches on top of the green. So yeah, that's been happening. Working at a bar restaurant, which is very interesting. You know, every one of those things is its own beast, and this one definitely has its quirks. I enjoy it. I think I work a little. I think I have a little bit too many jobs, you know, for one person. Ends up wrecking my fucking body at the end of the night. But I enjoy it, and I enjoy the money. But I work at a gas station, and that gas station's fucking hilarious to work at, man. Like, I get so much material from that fucking gas station. It's hilarious. A lot of, like, title of your sex tape kind of things. If you ever watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, title of your sex tape, you know. There was a woman that came in the other day and gave me a really good one of those. She's like, she was looking for a car wash, and we have 4 packages at the car wash. You know, package 1, package 2, package 3, package 4. And she said, which package would be best for my undercarriage? Because my undercarriage is filthy. The biggest one, miss. The biggest one. That was just funny. Yeah, and the people that come in and they get mad at me about the gas prices. I actually had a guy, it was like literally, I think it was yesterday. He came in and, gas prices are really high. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, whose fault is that? And I was like, I don't know, man. And he's like, probably that Joe Biden in the president. I'm like, dude, it has nothing to do with who is in the president's seat. Okay, yes, they can make deals. They can choose to make deals and not make deals with different countries and different places and different companies that have different oil fields. But the thing is, man, we can't make oil. It is a non-renewable resource. Do you think that it's just growing wild? No. It's going to run out. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get any better. Well, we got plenty of oil here in America. Well, it's because we've found some oil, or we've negotiated for oil, or built fucking environmental stupidity to bring oil from one part to the other. But guess what? It all runs out, dude. It all runs out. You know, if Trump was president for 10 years, you would not see oil prices down at $1 a gallon for 10 years. It's not going to fucking happen, man. He might be able to negotiate here and there to get, you know, get a little bit, you know, less for a barrel and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not going to be anything that changes anytime soon, man. It has nothing to do with politics, you know? So yeah, it's going to run out. That's what they were saying in the 80s. Like, yeah, and how much did gas cost in the 80s? Why do you think it's so fucking expensive now? You know, there's more vehicles on the roads. Like, I remember when I was a kid, going out on First Street, where I grew up, and playing catch with my dad. And there might be one car on the road, or like, you know, parked on the side of the road, maybe 2. But we were able to go out there and play catch all the time. And I drive down that road now, and there's vehicles lining each side of that fucking road. More people have vehicles, man. You know, every kid, when they turn, the age, then they have to get a vehicle, and they have, and back in the day, it was, here's a hand-me-down, and you are now carting your brother and sisters around until you can afford a different vehicle. And then guess what? That one's going to the next kid, like, it's all convenience. It's all convenience. So yeah, working at the gas station. Finally got my guitars back in October. Found myself in a financial pinch, and it was my son's birthday, and I had some money for his birthday in my pocket, and all of a sudden the water dude comes by, and he was like, do you want me to give you an hour before I shut you off? I'm like, what the fuck? And around here, man, I tell you what, dude, if you are one payment behind, they send you a disconnect notice. There's no talking to them. There's no negotiating. There's no greasing the tracks, nothing. Like, if you are one payment behind, there's a disconnect notice coming out. Like, every other place that I go that has bills involved and stuff, I can usually, talk my way into a few more days or something like that. Hey, I get paid on Friday. Can you wait until then? Yeah, sure, we can wait till then. But not those guys. So I had to like go and like fucking pawn my guitars and shit. But I got them back. Good old Matilda and good old, she's so beautiful. 71. I call her 71. She is a Fender Stratocaster American Standard HH, which stands for humbucker. And you don't see too many Fenders with humbuckers. You see them with double coils and stuff like that. If you don't know anything about guitars, I'm sorry. But, and I saw it once, and my wife saw like my eyes bugger out of my head. And so she bought it for me for my birthday. It was like $1,600 guitar, man. It's fucking, but I call her 71 because my wife used some of the money that I got from when my mom died to buy it for me. And so that money came from my mother pretty much, and, you want to know what else my mom left me when she died? 71 pairs of shoes. 71 pairs of shoes. Like so many clothes and jewelry. My mom was kind of like, she was very impulsive when it came to buying pretty shit. It didn't even have to be expensive. Like, she would go and, deal shop and everything. But like just the amount of, like, every time she left the house and went anywhere, she had to come back with something, which was part of what made my mom endearing to me. But not to, like, people like my dad who had to pay bills later. But I love my mom. And, but yeah, when she died, 71 pairs of shoes. I kept maybe 4 pairs of them just because of nostalgic, her old cowboy boots and stuff like that from when she was, working the trails back in the day. She worked a lot of horse trails and shit back in the 80s, 70s. So I named that beautiful guitar 71 after my mom. 71 pairs of shoes. Oh, what else? Oh yeah, so yesterday was the wife and I's 16-year anniversary of like when we decided to like be a couple. 16 years ago yesterday. And the day before that, it was 13 years since I asked her to marry me. And that was an interesting day. So I knew I wanted to ask her to marry me and stuff. And I heard that somebody was able to get up on stage at a Fish concert and propose to their girlfriend and stuff like that at a Fish concert. Well, that day, April 18th, 2010, Brian Head Welch from Korn was touring solo, and he came through town. And I woke up that morning not knowing what the fuck I was going to do, but I did it because I found, the mayor of this town, well, the old mayor of this town, used to work with my father, and for years. So he knew me, I knew him. And so I called him and I was like, hey man, where do you think I should go to try to do this at this concert tonight? And he was like, well, here's the number for the guy that runs like the venue and stuff. So I got a hold of him, and he was like, well, let me put you in contact with the guy's tour manager. So I got put together with him, and that dude was like, well, come on down here. We'll talk about it and stuff. So I go down there, and I'm, standing there waiting for this dude to come over to me. And all of a sudden, here's Brian Head Welch from Korn, like one of the twin towers of rock. One of my idols being a teenager in 98 and 99 and shit. Like, holy shit. And he's standing right in front of me, and they talked to me about what we're going to do. And I was just like, yeah, I just wanted to propose to my girlfriend, and I think this would be awesome. And they were just like, that's awesome, dude. And, okay, thanks. Shook some hands, and away I went. And they said, after the third song, be by the left of the stage, kind of. And the third song, after the third song, I'm going to get you up there, and I'm going to kind of make it like seem like, oh, you want a contest or something. And I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, and then we'll let you do it. And I was like, sweet. And so fucking it happened, and she said yes. And then as we're walking off the stage, bro, I'm not even shitting you, I have it on video, and I could still frame it right there and just be like, right there, he's looking right at it. We're walking off the stage, and Brian Head Welch from Korn checked out my now fiance's ass. It's one of the most proud moments of my life, man. And I think right there, he like put a spell on it. It's never going to change. It's always going to be the same, man. It's always going to be the same. So yeah, that's how I proposed to my wife. And it still blows my mind that I was able to put that together in like within like an hour. Like I was just, oh shit. Hold on one second here. Just reminded me, there are two things that I miss about my mother. We were talking about my mom. My mom was a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, amazing, but complicated woman. And I don't think she ever fit into the world all the way. Same with me. Like neither of my parents ever really fit into the world. Not in a bad way. They both made their money. They both, were able to do things. I think I just got the worst of it from both of them in the ways of that. Never fitting in and never finding my place in the world. But one of the things that I miss the most about my mom is when I would call her. Like, I don't know, once upon a time, at one point in time, my mom called me, and I answered the phone just like this, and I meant to do this. I was like, yeah. And my mom laughed her fucking ass off. And so like every time she would call me, I would do a variation of that. And then she started doing it. And hers weren't like as like, animated as mine, but she would be like, yeah. It was our little thing. But another thing that I miss about my mom, and some people like if I, top 10 great, like greatest moments of my life in the ways of like my mom and I's relationship. And this is like some people want to, oh, what's one of the things that you love them, miss the most and stuff. And like people kind of give me shit about this a little bit sometimes, but my mom calling me for a ride when I was like 13 and she was drunk at the bar. It wasn't a thing. Like I was first of all, I was 13 and I knew how to drive. And, it's one of those things where it's like, back when I was 13, I was like, I want to fucking drive, dude. Yeah. You want me to bring the car? Sure. And so, yeah, she'd call me and I'd come and I would rescue her, walk into the bar and like, all right. And she would be so happy to see me and let's go. And we'd stop by a gas station or something, or, it's just nice, man. It was cool. It was cool. And some people think that that's an awful memory for me to love about my mom, but it was just one of those things where it was like, I was always there for her in that way. Always. Miss the shit out of that woman. Ugh. Happy 420 again. Yeah. I need to dig some of this stuff out in here. Oh, I've been listening to, let's see, what kind of music have I been listening to lately? I don't know. I've been listening to this band called Ultraviolet Hippopotamus. It's actually pretty good. They have a song called The Scar that I heard on a radio station, like on a Spotify playlist or something, and that was really good. Ultraviolet Hippopotamus, The Scar. It's a pretty good song. That album is fucking weird, dude. Like, it really kind of shuffles around the genres a little bit. Or at least, those guys are very, very interesting on their instruments. But no, I've been listening to a lot of Offspring. Offspring is fun. And it's rather nostalgic. And those guys are still making great music to this day. So, hooray for Offspring. I fucking love the Offspring. Yeah, oof. So is it time? Is it time to talk about Star Trek? Should I talk about Star Trek? Star Trek Picard is the it's been going for 3 seasons. And honestly, I will give you the honest to God truth. The first 2 seasons were very meh for me. I really like the endings of both of them, but in the ways of just overall what I was expecting out of a Star Trek show that featured one of my old cast, because that's my cast, Next Generation. That's my show. I really liked, the original, of course, and then Next Gen. Deep Space Nine was fun. I don't think I ever watched all of it, but Deep Space Nine was fun. I really kind of dug Voyager, except for the fact that Harry Kim on Voyager was pretty much their Gilligan. Because what's kind of the premise of Voyager? Well, they get, slung across the fucking universe, and they're like 60 years from home. And they have to make their way back. Like they have to make their way back. And it seemed like every time, they were about to get home, Harry Kim would fuck something up. And it was Gilligan would fuck up the professor's plan, dude. And so I dug Voyager. I liked Voyager. A lot of people give that show a lot of shit, but I liked it. And 7 of 9 was obviously a favorite to a teenage boy. She was fucking gorgeous. So yeah, when the first 2 seasons of Picard happened, like they were good, but they weren't like what I was expecting at all. And yeah, so I mean the ending of the first one, you find out that Data's memories and stuff are in the big fucking computer and everything, and they wipe him out finally. And it's this big old thing. We just killed Data, you know, and that's exactly what he wanted and everything. And the second one, now that the third season came out, the second one makes no fucking sense to me. Because of the whole Borg thing and shit. But yeah, this third season has been amazing. Like from the start, I was in it every fucking week, man. Like The Mandalorian just stopped, and I was very underwhelmed the whole season. But this, you know, if they wanted to, you know, catch me with some nostalgia and shit, they got it. But it was also a really fucking good story. And yes, there was questions that I had, you know, throughout the whole thing, but most of them were answered. But like and this is going to have spoilers for the season finale and the series finale. It's the last thing. Just the whole Borg thing didn't really make sense to me because the whole second season revolves around the Borg and the Borg Queen and all this shit. And now all of a sudden I'm supposed to shit myself with fear because the Borg are here. And it's like, wait a minute. And they're like, nobody's even heard from them for 10 years. It's like, that was not 10 fucking years ago, man. Like this just happened. Like this just happened, this Borg thing. Like what the fuck is going on? So that, and at the end, so first of all, I've never cried that much. Like during something made for entertainment, as I did with episode 9 of Star Trek Picard. I've never cried that much. It was beautiful, you know, because yeah, they brought the whole cast together and everything, and the episode before that was them all sitting at the table together, you know, for the first time in 25, 30 years and shit, and but you know, people forget that like one of the things about Star Trek, one of the characters in the movie or in the show is the ship, you know, and so to see the Enterprise D come back out and see them walk on the set and everything, I cried like a big dumb bitch, like for real, dude. I was sitting there just like, oh my god, and but it was gorgeous, and it was like my whole fucking childhood. And what really sucks about like that aspect of my life is I don't have that like awesome nerd wife that is like totally into it with me, and so like she just doesn't understand. Like she just doesn't understand how much that fucking show has meant to me over the years and how much it shaped me as a human being. She doesn't get it, and you know, so I can't, you know, sit there and and expect her to, you know, to fucking get into it with me and shit. But yeah, that was just absolutely brilliant and gorgeous. And I thought Vatic went out like a bitch. Like I was really hoping that Vatic would, I don't know. Thought she kind of went out like a bitch, man. Like there was some, I don't know. I felt bad for Vatic after she was talking about like her story, you know, and how she came to be, you know, and the changelings and what happened to them and stuff like that, and kind of felt bad for her and everything. And yeah, she was, you know, fucking heartless fucking thug pretty much through the whole thing. But I don't know, man. I was just kind of hoping that she would have went out a little bit better. I don't know, or worse. I don't know. Fucked up shit, dude. But no, the Borg thing, that's like open the door and oh, there's the Borg and everything, and I'm just like, okay, sounds good. And hold on. But I had so many questions because of season 2. And so that whole thing was just kind of like, that kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. And, oh, Jack's got Borg shit in him and all that stuff. And okay, like I'll dig on it and everything, but it was very quick. He really quickly went there, and then it wasn't that hard to fucking, God, dude, she spewed out, 3 flowery fucking sentences to the guy, and he went from, I'm gonna kill you, to go ahead, shove that fucker on in. Like it was very quick. It was very quick. So yeah, that kind of, and then this last episode, okay, so they all of a sudden, like last episode, they saw that, okay, it was the Excelsior. They're like, hey, we took back control of our ship from the Borg and everything, and all of a sudden, like, they just like fucking pilot the, remote pilot the ship out in front of the fleet and then fucking destroy them and shit like that. Okay, and so at the end there, they like shoot the Borg kids on the bridge, and they're shooting them with like instant like transport fucking shit. They immediately transported them to the transporter room, and then they locked the transporter room down. Okay, they're like, we have to do this so they don't know that we've taken control of the ship, so they don't blow us out of the water like they did the Excelsior. And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, dude, it's the Borg. They already know that you've done it. They're one mind. What happens to these ones, the other ones know about it instantaneously. Why is this, like, all of a sudden just like, hey, we can just skirt around this and shit? Like, okay, that's interesting. But no, I was really excited that like 7 of 9 and Rafi came back, and they kind of had some redemption there at the end. Although those two don't get along all the time, and having a captain and a first officer that either are or are not in a relationship, that might be a little bit of a conflict of interest. But then again, sending the fucking Crusher kid up, past all the other things to being, like, doesn't have to go to the academy or nothing. No, he just gets to go right into a starship. I mean, they were pretty much talking about how they were a motley little crew of people at the end. So, yeah, come on. Fuck. Crazy shit. But yeah, it was a brilliant send off to my crew, and I loved how it ended. And it's sad that it's over. Like when I posted it today, I was like, this is the last time that I'm gonna see my original crew on the original ship go on an adventure. It was tough. It was tough to wrap my mind around, like after all this time I get to see this, but now all of a sudden it's done again. But like the last time that I saw them go on an adventure was Nemesis, Star Trek Nemesis, and the end of that was a shit show. Data died and all this stuff, and then this one, all of a sudden it just worked out perfectly. And they were all there on the bridge of the Enterprise D. By the way, the bridge of the Enterprise D being the most handicapped accessible bridge in all of Star Trek. There's a lot of steps and thrones in Star Trek and stuff like that, with steps up to them and everything, so they're higher than everybody else. Not the Enterprise D, man. Captain's tucked down there in his Barca lounger and shit with his buddies on his sides and everything, and he's not above anybody else or anything like that. And he's got a chick to one side, a dude in the other side, so he's got both sides of the equation right there. And then the ramps come down, man. There's no steps. It's the most handicapped accessible Star Trek bridge ever. So, yeah, that's Picard season 3 was a masterpiece, and it was great. And I hope that, someday my kids decide that they actually want to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation and kind of dive into the lore of it all, and then they would be able to appreciate something like that too. But then again, you know, there will be something that they see someday where nostalgia will take over again in the masses, and all of a sudden they'll see like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Evans, you know, in like 30 years come together, you know, or 20 years. Robert Downey Jr. is not going to survive 30 more years. But anyways, no, Star Trek Picard, great. The season 1 and 2 were good, but they were confusing at times. They were kind of messy, and they drug on in certain spots. Not this one. This one didn't drag on at all. Like, there were episodes that were, you know, absolutely filler episodes and shit that were just, you know, we need to stretch this into 10 fucking shows. And so they kind of, you know, you could tell a filler episode if you know one. But other than that, dude, like, it wasn't, it kept me on my seat the whole time, you know? So, I really wanted to love the last part of Mandalorian, or this third season of Mandalorian, but I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't get into it. So I just kind of liked him being like the lone wolf. But I will get into the Mandalorian some other day, not right now. But no, check out Star Trek Picard. Happy 420, everybody. It's 420. I'm sorry if this episode kind of sucked. I don't know. Did it? I don't think it did. But yeah, it was good talking to y'all. And yeah, I'll try to get back on here and do these more often now that I kind of jumped off the diving board again. Because, yeah, sometimes I just get lost in life, man. And it's hard to get down here and do this shit sometimes. So, you guys take it easy. Happy 420. Definitely check out Silver Screen Showdown Stoner Films edition. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, it's amazing. It's good stuff. And yeah, have a safe and happy 420, everybody. From your old pal, Tony Tone. Later.
Now I've been smoking, you been smoking, we been smoking all day. I be smoking, you been smoking, we been smoking all day. You be smoking, she be smoking, he be smoking all day. Blowing kush, it ain't face from overseas to the USA. I got that blueberry, raspberry, and we keep that juicy fruit. If you want that fire.